Hello, it's good to see you. If this is your first time stopping by, then a big welcome, and if you've been here before, well, you know the vibe. I'm Clive Gilson, your friendly fireside storyteller, and this is Tales from the World's Firesides, where old myths, wild legends, weird little gems from around the world get dusted off and brought back to life. Now, today's story is one to buckle up for because this one is strange, twisty, full of a kind of sort of weird folklore logic that we love around here. We're heading to Turkey today for a tale with a goose, and not just any goose, a missing eye, a daughter who goes through hell and back, and yes, an arm. Just trust me, it all makes sense by the end, well, mostly. It's called The Goose, the Eye, the Daughter and the Arm, and it's got magic, betrayal and a serious lesson in knowing who your real family is. So go on, hit that like button, grab something warm, get comfy, and let's get into it. The Goose, the Eye, the Daughter and the Arm. A Turk decided to have a feast, so he killed and stuffed a goose and took it to the baker to be roasted. The Qadi of the village happened to pass by the oven as the baker was basting the goose and was attracted by the pleasant and appetizing odour. Approaching the baker, the Qadi said it was a fine goose, that the smell of it made him quite hungry and suggested that he had better send it to his house. The baker expostulated, saying, "Well, I cannot. It does not belong to me." The Qadi assured him that that was no difficulty. "You tell Ahmet, the owner of the goose, that it flew away." "Impossible," said the baker. "How can a roasted goose fly away?" "Ahmet will only laugh at me, your worship, and I will be cast into prison." "Am I not a judge?" said the Qadi. "Fear nothing." At this, the baker consented to send the goose to the Qadi's house. When Ahmet came for his goose, the baker said, "Friend, your goose has flown." "Flown?" said Ahmet. "What lies! Am I your grandfather's grandchild that you should laugh in my beard?" Seizing one of the baker's large shovels, he lifted it to strike him, but as fate would have it, the handle put out the eye of the baker's boy, and Ahmet, frightened at what he had done, ran off, closely followed by the baker and his boy, the latter crying, "My eye! My eye!" In his hurry, Ahmet knocked over a child, killing it, and the father of the child joined in the chase, calling out, "My daughter! My daughter!" Ahmet, well nigh distracted, rushed into a mosque and up a minaret. To escape his pursuers, he leaped from the parapet and fell upon a vendor who was passing by, breaking his arm. The vendor also began pursuing him, calling out, "My arm! My arm!" Ahmet was finally caught and brought before the Qadi, who no doubt was feeling contented with the world, having just enjoyed a delicious goose. The Qadi heard each of the cases brought against Ahmet, who in turn told his case truthfully as it had happened. "Complicated matter," said the Qadi. "All these misfortunes come from the flight of the goose, and I must refer to the book of the law to give a just judgment." Taking down a ponderous manuscript volume, the Qadi turned to Ahmet and asked him what number egg the goose had been hatched from. Ahmet said he did not know. "Well then," replied the Qadi, "the book writes that such a phenomenon was possible. If this goose was hatched from the seventh egg, and the hatcher also from the seventh egg, the book writes that it is possible for a roasted goose under those conditions to fly away." "With reference to your eye," continued the Qadi, addressing the baker's lad, "the book provides punishment for the removal of 2 eyes, but not of 1. So if you will consent to your other eye being taken out, I will condemn Ahmet to have both of his removed." The baker's lad, not appreciating the force of this argument, withdrew his claim. Then, turning to the father of the dead child, the Qadi explained that the only provision for a case like this in the book of law was that he take Ahmet's child in its place, or, if Ahmet did not have a child, to wait till he got one. The bereaved parent, not taking any interest in Ahmet's present or prospective children, also withdrew his case. These cases settled, there remained but the vendor's, who was angry at having his arm broken. The Qadi expounded on the justice of the law and its far-seeing provisions, that the vendor at least could claim ample compensation for having his arm broken. The book of the law provided that he should go to the very same minaret, and that Ahmet must station himself at the very same place where the poor vendor had stood when his arm was broken, so that the vendor might jump down and break Ahmet's arm. But be it understood, concluded the Qadi, if you break his leg instead of his arm, Ahmet will have the right to delegate someone to jump down on you to break your leg. The vendor, not seeing the force of the Qadi's proposal, also withdrew his claim. Thus ended the cases of the goose, the eye, the daughter, and the arm. And that's it for today's wild little tale, The Goose, the Eye, the Daughter, and the Arm. I know, there's a lot going on in that title, but that's folklore for you. This version's been adapted from Tales Told in the Coffee House by Cyrus, Adler and Allan Ramsay, published in 1898 by MacMillan and Company, London. Now, whether you're listening from Istanbul or Indiana, or sipping your tea in your kitchen or chilling on your couch, thanks for hanging out with me today. Seriously, it does mean a lot. And if this story made you laugh, gave you goosebumps, pun intended, or brought back some childhood memory you didn't know was still there, don't worry. There's way more stories where this one came from. I've got whole collections of legends and folktales from Turkey and all around the world up on Amazon, and the link's in the description below. If you're curious about me, the guy behind the voice, then come say hi over at clivegilson.com. I'm always up for a chat. If you like today's story, do give it a like, subscribe, maybe share it with someone who loves a good old tale. It helps more folks find these stories, and it helps to keep the storytelling fire burning brightly. Anyway, until next time, stay cozy, be kind, and keep those stories flowing, because when we pass stories on, we're keeping something ancient alive, and that's pretty magical. Anyway, take care. Catch you in the next one.